guys. So if you guys can go ahead and accept, then we're just going to get started with our business talk. So this time, our business talk is going to be focused on social media marketing. And I know it's a part that all of us struggled with. I'm still working on my process, but it's getting better. But I ran across, well, actually, not even, let me stop lying. So for about a year and a half, I have been stalking.
That's why I'm so tired.
I'm always stalking somebody. I'm always stalking, and I just ran across Shamara's early morning presentations about social media. And ever since then on TikTok, I've always like once in a while just keep watching, keep watching, keep watching. And then finally I said, you know what? She has this challenge. And I just went ahead, did the challenge, and trust me, it's transforming. Because probably you guys have noticed a change with a lot of my views and a lot of my videos, and it all kind of stemmed over for Shamara. So I was like, you know what? If she can do this in such a short amount of time and to motivate me and to keep the things moving and to get rid of some of the blockers, like we all keep saying, I was like, you know what? I definitely need to see if she can come and speak to us as in our group expands. So Shamara Star, thank you so much for being here and welcome to You Can Tutor, the membership.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here and to serve you all with excellence. Today, we're going to be talking about a social media strategy that can really help you to put your content out and then increase your reach and your leads and your sales. Like that's the goal when we're on social media. I'm not sure if I can share my screen. Oh, yep, I am.
You
I'm able to
should.
share my screen. Okay, awesome. So we're just gonna jump right in. And I love the presentation. Every time I'm presenting, I love it to be interactive. So feel free to use the chat. I'll have the chat open. You can write in the chat, yes, girl, this is everything that I need. Because it lets me know I'm doing good. If y'all stay silent, I'm going to think it's a whack presentation. And then I'm going to start feeling insecure. I don't want to feel insecure. So I just need y'all to write in the chat. Keep me going. Like, you're doing a great job. Even if you think it's whack, just build me up anyway. Right? It's not going to be whack. So today we're talking about 3 steps to produce powerful videos that sell on social media. That is our goal. One thing that I have learned being on social media as a content creator is that just because you grow your following, don't mean they're going to buy. That's where I was for a good year, where I was like growing my following, but my bank account wasn't growing at the same time. And I was like, wait a second, something has to shift. And so the strategies we're going to talk about today is in a way, I had to make sure my battery is being charged. Okay, there we go. Is going to help you so that now when you're putting out the content, you know what kind of content is going to grow your following, what kind of content is going to get the leads, and what kind of content is going to get the sales. So let's jump right in. So who am I? I'm Shamara Sarcox. I'm a TV producer and a content coach. I worked in the television industry for over a decade, and I'm bringing that experience with me in order to teach business owners, entrepreneurs, and coaches how to create content that sells. On top of that, I do teach Bible marketing secrets. This is one of our specialties. You do not have to be a Christian in order for you to indulge in the content that we're teaching, mainly because biblical principles do not discriminate. Right? So we do have people who are following us, who join our challenge, who are atheists, they are Muslim, and they just don't care about God. And that is okay. Because the biblical principles that we teach will help you to create your content in a way and still be able to attract your people because they're not going to discriminate. So you're going to see me drop some scriptures, and it's going to be for teaching purposes. So we're going to learn these 3 things, right? 1, how to package your message in your videos. 2, how to produce engaging videos. And 3, how to post 4 types of content that sells. So before we jump into exactly what we're going to be talking about today, these 3 tips, I want to share this quick story. I remember before I was getting into the TV industry, I was trying so hard to break in. Like I had graduated with a master's degree. Sis could not find a job. I'm not going front. I couldn't find a job for 2 years after getting my master's degree working in film. However, I did end up working at a staffing agency. And I remember being at the staffing agency, just crying. I would be crying to God, like, Lord, please make a way for me. I'm applying for jobs. I'm going on interviews. People were not checking for me. I started fasting. I started praying. I started crying so hard so I can finally get into the television industry. And it was not easy at all. And then one day I said, you know what? I'm just gonna be chill about it. Let me just be at peace with where I'm at right now, but I'm not going to give up on my dreams. And finally, I got a call from a major television company that they wanted to interview me. I was like, this is it. This is my shot. Like, anyone ever been in a position where you wanted something so badly and you know, okay, it's finally about to happen for me, right? That's where I was. I'm like, it's finally about to happen. Let's make this happen. So there I was on the interview. I had 3 executive producers who were interviewing me, and each one of them absolutely loved me. I mean, the questions that they asked, we were relating to one another, we were connecting with one another, and I thought to myself, this job is in the bag. I was so sure of myself. And then they offered the position to someone else. And I was like, dang, they just played me like that. I'm from New York, so you're gonna hear my New York lingo come out, right? But they told me this. They said, we want you to keep in touch. And so I did. I followed up with them for an entire year. I reached out to them and asked them how the holidays was going. If I saw them in the news, I reached out so I can say, congratulations on being in the news. And 1 full year later, they reached out to me and offered me a higher position. You want to know why? Because I was top of mind. So my question to you is, are you top of mind? When you're putting out content, are people thinking about you? Or when they watch your videos and they leave your page, do they forget about you? The worst space to be in on social media is in a space where you put out content that people forget. Because if they do forget about you, that means they're not going to come back and they're not going to engage with you and they're not going to buy from you. So the goal is to be top of mind when you're putting out your content, because when people are constantly thinking about you, that's when they're going to invest. Audrey has said it in my introduction. She said, I followed Star for 1.5 years before I decided to invest, right? That means I was top of mind for her. I'm sure Audrey has come across a trillion other content coaches, video marketing coaches, social media coaches, TikTok coaches, but she was like, nope, for some reason I'm called to Star and I'm going to go work with Star, right? And it's the same thing with your ideal clients. Your ideal clients are looking at you and they're like, this is who I want to be with, right? Only thing is, if you don't show up and you're top of mind for them, what's going to happen is they're going to forget about you and you don't want to be forgettable. So the question is how to be top of mind. How to be top of mind, right? So there are certain things that you want to do in order to become the person that people want to think about, especially on social media. Now, here's the thing. You don't got to hop on trends. You don't got to do the most trendiest things or post 1 trillion times a day. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about shifting our mind and becoming the person that people want to remember. And you can do that with these 3 things here. The first thing is to ask for wisdom. I really like this one because oftentimes people think wisdom is just someone who knows a lot of information, but that's not what wisdom is. Wisdom is actually a skill set. It is actually applied knowledge, right? So asking for wisdom, what kind of skill set do you need for social media? Well, for one, it's marketing. Number 2 is sales, right? So these are the skills that you can ask for. You can ask for wisdom in marketing and wisdom when it comes to sales. Now, I actually got this from King Solomon. If anyone is familiar with King Solomon, he's actually found in 1st and 2nd Kings, right? Well, 1st Kings, I should say. But he was the wisest king in the world, and he was the wealthiest king in the world. And when he became king at a young age, the one thing that he asked God for was for wisdom. He said, Lord, please give me wisdom so that I can serve your people. And God was so honored by this that he did give him that, right? So we can also ask for wisdom, especially in social media, so that now when we're showing up in a way that people remember. And it's the same thing with King Solomon, right? Because he asked for wisdom, people traveled from all around the world just to listen to him, just to be in his presence. He was memorable, right? The next thing to do is to ask for creativity. Now, when I first started creating content full time, this is what I asked God for. I said, Lord, you are the master creator, so please download your creativity into me. And he did that. And I started creating amazing videos. People just loved those videos. They were like, I've never seen content like this before. And I'm like, well, that's the mind of God for you, right? So they absolutely loved the creativity. So if you find yourself in a space where it's hard to create, you might want to ask for creativity. But also, you might want to clear your mind. When you're creating content on social media, it is super important for your mind to be clear so that you can make room for the creative ideas to flow through you. That means if you're stressed, if you're worried, if you're fearful, if imposter syndrome and perfectionism is taking over, you want to take some time and try to meditate or really address where the fear is coming from, because all of these things will block the creativity from flowing. If you think about creativity like it's a current or an electric current, it needs to flow freely. But if there's any blockages there, it's going to stop, right? So oftentimes for me, I'll walk out in nature. I'll take time just to breathe, just so that the creativity can start flowing through me. And then the last thing is to ask for help. Like, who can you go to ask for help with social media? We're always big on telling our clients like, hey, this is why you have a coach, or this is why you get a coach, right? I know for me, every time I want to go to the next level in my business, the first thing I think about is to get a coach. Now, let me tell you, 3 years ago, that was not my mindset. 3 years ago was, I got to do it all myself, right? There, exactly. Beth said, Audrey is my go-to. Exactly. That is a wonderful mindset to have. The mindset that I used to have that was like, I'm going to do it all by myself. It left me in a space where I couldn't accelerate quickly. And oftentimes we want to be in a space where we want to accelerate quickly. And so what I've learned is that each time I invest in a coach, I advance quickly. So on the other side of your investment is advancement. And so Beth is like, Audrey's my go-to. Exactly. And I'm sure, Beth, you're experiencing a lot of advancement in your business because you don't have to try to figure it out on your own, right? And so I always encourage people, don't try to figure it out on your own. Just ask for help, because the help will come, right? And you can do a couple of things to ask for help. You can find the people, start reaching out to the people, following the people. One thing that I do is I always ask God to just send the people. I'm like, Lord, send the help. And he always sends the help. But here's the thing. Don't get mad that help comes with a price tag, because he's oftentimes sent a coach who's like, it costs this much. And I'd be happy for it, because now that means I'm getting ready to learn a new skill set, and I don't have to figure it out on my own. And let me tell you, when you have someone that you can just rely on, it really does help. Okay, awesome. So I want to jump right into these tips. Are you ready for the first tip? Let me just see you drop a I'm ready in the chat if you are ready for the first tip, so that we can go right into it. We're talking about 3 powerful steps to create content that sells. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, it's okay. I see the I'm ready's in the chat. So this is the first tip, and that is to package your message in your videos. Now, some of you are probably like, what message, what package, what are you talking about, right? So we're going to dive right into what this actually means. So you want to craft a memorable message for your business. A memorable message is easy to remember, and it rolls off of your tongue, right? So some of you are probably thinking to yourself, I kind of sort of have a message. It doesn't roll off my tongue yet. You just need to practice it some more. You want the message to be very much enticing, and it should speak to the people that you are serving, right? So I want to do a couple of examples. I want to do an example from Dr. Martin Luther King. Does anyone remember what Dr. Martin Luther King's message was? If you do, you could write it in the chat, or you could feel free to unmute. Does anyone remember? What was Dr. Martin Luther King's message?
I have a dream.
There we go. I have a dream. And that was his message. And he's been gone for a long time. So that's a memorable message right there. Okay, this one's a little bit harder, right? This one, you got to be a Bible scholar to know this one. Does anyone know what John the Baptist's message was? If you get stumped,
Prepare the way.
Almost there, very close, but that was his purpose, to prepare the way. Yep. If you get stuck, it's okay.
Repent and be baptized.
That part. Repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand. And look how long ago John the Baptist was gone, and we still can't. His message just rolls off our tongue. Ain't that something, right? Okay, let me give you one more. Nike. Does anyone know what Nike's message is? Yeah, I saw you mouth it, Audrey.
Yep, exactly. Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. These are memorable messages, right? And we remember them, like it sticks with us. And it's almost like these messages are more than messages. They have started movements. So what kind of movement could you start with your messaging? Well, how can you inspire your people? Now, your message doesn't have to be 4 words, right? When you're starting off, it may need to be a sentence or two. For my message is I help coaches, entrepreneurs, and business owners create binge-worthy content that increases their reach, their leads, and their sales, right? Now, of course, I had to rehearse that. But when I share it, people are like, binge-worthy content. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I have a whole spiel on why binge-worthy content, right? But it sticks with them. And then when they're actually binging my content, they're like, she just did it to me. I mean, sometimes we have to warn people and be like, I'm gonna let you know right now, you're gonna be on my page for 3 hours. And they're like, okay, right? So your message got to be true too. Can't tell them that you're gonna binge and they don't binge. Like that makes me a liar, and I don't like to lie, right? So Beth says transforming complexity into clarity, right? Give me some more details around that, right? Like who are you helping and what is the complexity that you're transforming into clarity, right? And as you go deeper into that, that's where you'll start to see, I just needed to be a lot clearer, because the whole point is so that not only that people will remember it, but also that they will know how you're serving them, right? So Heidi says, I get results fast. I love that. What do you do, Heidi? Well, I mean, I know you all are tutors, but you want to make sure that you're also sharing that too, because if Heidi got up on a stage and just told people, hi, my name is Heidi, and I get results fast, people are going to be like, okay, right? So you want to give them some more details. Hi, my name is Heidi, and I help so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so get results fast. Then they're going to be like,
I actually say, I've been teaching and tutoring high school math classes for over 34 years. I get results fast.
I love that. Give us some of what these results are. Are these kids like going from 0 grades to 100 grades? Are they going from
typically it's improving their grade by 1 to 2 letter grades in as little as 2 to 3 weeks.
I love that. You also want to say that when you're saying I get results fast. So like, my name is Heidi and I tutor your students from a C grade to an A grade in 1 to 2 weeks. I get results fast. Because now it takes a clear image in their head of like, oh, that's
okay.
And she gets the results fast. So I love that. That is so clear. Okay, Nitsa says, am I saying your name right, Nitsa, or is it Niza? In my mind, I thought of it like pizza. So I just want to make sure I'm saying it right.
You're saying it right, yes.
Okay, good, awesome. Okay, I help students get ahead in their reading and math in weeks. I love that. What do you mean by getting ahead? Like, is there a certain grade you can put on this, or is there a certain percentage?
Well, struggling students that are behind, like they are performing below their grade level.
Okay, so
I help them get to grade level or beyond.
I love that. I help students falling behind in grade level, or I help students falling behind in school, however you want to word it, get to grade level and beyond. I love that. And then I like that you said in weeks. Just let them know how many weeks. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 12 weeks.
Usually 12.
There you go. In 12 weeks or less.
Okay.
Yep. You say 12 weeks. 12 weeks is typically what, 6 months? No, not 6 months. That's
3 months. 3 months.
Yep. So you can say 3 months or less, or 12 weeks or less. 3 months resonates more, mainly because it's a shorter number.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I love it. And so when you have your marketing message, this is what you put out on the social media, and you say it all the time. And every time you introduce yourself or someone asks you the name of your business, because I do this all the time to my clients, I'm like, what's the name of your business? And they'll just give me the name. And I'm like, great. No one cares about the name of your business. They just, they really don't. What they want to know is what Nitsa wrote inside the chat. I help students, and she's switching her memorable message now, but I help students who are falling behind in grade level get to grade level and beyond in 3 months or less. That's what they really want to know, right? Like for me, a lot of my clients don't know the name of my business until they see the receipt, until they see the stamp on their credit card statement or their card statement. That's the only time they need to know the name of your business. But they do need to know how you serve them, and that's where your memorable message comes into play. And so why do you need the memorable message? To attract consistent and loyal clients, because not everyone you're going to serve. Not everyone do you want to serve. So you want to be super clear on who you are actually serving. Like I heard someone say that they serve high school students. So if someone who is a kindergartner came to you, you'd have to turn them away or go tell them to go to someplace, go to someone else. Why? Because your skill set and specialty is going to best serve the high school students, right? You want it, your message also builds trust and relationship with your audience. It helps them to know what to expect, right? Now they're not walking away confused, because a confused mind never buys. So you want them to walk away with a clear image in their head of how you can help them. And now they see you as someone that they can trust and they actually want to build with. And then it helps to convert your followers into customers, which is the biggest thing, because people want to know what they're buying. And people only want to buy what they want to buy. So if you give them what they want, that's when you'll see the sales come in on social media, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I just booked that, right? So that's why you need a memorable message. All right, who's feeling blessed by this? Who's feeling like, okay, I'm starting to understand this? You can just write out, I'm blessed in the chat, and then I'll share the next tip with you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we're going to go on to tip number 2. So tip number 2 is to produce engaging videos, right? Not boring videos, not videos that people are going to fall asleep on, and not long and yawning videos. You want to create engaging videos because social media is a place that people go to escape. Life is hard, work is harder. And when people are on social media, they're going there for entertainment. They want to escape. They want to be inspired. And so I'm going to share with you this content strategy that Jesus showed me, right? And I'll show you exactly where I got it from. It's found in Matthew 5:13. So some of you may be Christian, maybe not, but those of you who are Christian, you may have heard something like, everything you need is in the Bible. That's how I grew up. I just hear people saying, everything you need is in the Bible. And I kind of sort of didn't believe them until I started teaching content marketing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, everything you need is in the Bible. And so when I saw this content strategy in Matthew 5:13, I kind of chuckled because I was like, wow, even Jesus was telling us what to do with our content, right? And so Matthew 5:13 is where Jesus is giving his Sermon on the Mount. And he's talking about how we must be the light of the world and the salt of the earth. That's what he's talking about. Because you are not the salt of the earth. The only thing that you would be good for is to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. That's what he's talking about, right? And so if we apply this to content, what is the purpose of salt? Salt is to heal people. So your content should be healing, right? Your people are in pain. Whatever their pain points are, you want to understand what those are and solve their pain with your content so it heals them. But salt is also flavorful, right? And so when you're putting out that content, you should be adding flavor to people's lives so that they actually feel like, oh my goodness, this was some good stuff, right? So now the question is, what does salty stand for? So this is what I teach all of my clients on how to create salty content. And salty stands for this. S is searchable. Your content must be searchable. That means that when people are looking for the solution to their problem, your content should show up. Instagram and TikTok is a search engine. So people are typing into the search engine, how can I pass my math test? And your content should pop up. How do I do this for my English class? What do I read for this? How can I help my child boost their reading scores, right? And your content should pop up. So if your content isn't searchable, then that means you're invisible online. And that's the hardest part. When you're putting out content and your views are low, your engagement is low, that means that your content is invisible and people can't find it, right? And so when we're talking about searchable content, we're talking about SEO and keywords. Does anyone know what that is? Or are you like, we got this? You need some more explanation on it? Let me know and I'll share some more explanation.
Can you go ahead and explain that part?
Okay, sure.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So SEO is search engine optimization. And that means that people are typing specific words into the search engine. And in order for your content to pop up, your content has to match those words. So I gave some of the examples, which may be, how do I pass my math test? Yeah, people really do write that into the search engine. That's true. Or how do I increase my reading scores? Like these may be keywords that your audience is searching for, which means you want to make sure your content has it, right? So that's searchable. It helps to increase your visibility and your reach. So if you notice that your views are low, chances are your content isn't searchable. The A stands for actionable, right? So people should be taking action on your content. They should be commenting, they should be following, they should be buying. That's what we're talking about. So they should be taking action on your content. The best way for people to take action on your content is by using call to action, right? And so oftentimes business owners hear, you got to use call to actions, you got to use call to actions. And yet they start putting it out there, just like, follow, comment, share, and then they're not seeing any results, right? And so it's not about just using any call to action. It's about using call to actions that your audience is going to respond to, right? So we teach our clients how to put out call to actions in a way that's going to entice their audience to want to respond back to them, right? So then the L stands for likable. This is where people are just loving your content. They're so addicted. They can't stop watching your content. And the best way to do this is with storytelling. Does anyone in here know how to tell stories in their content? Or are you like, that's the part that I need help with?
Oh, I need help with.
Right, you need help, right? And so these types of content, you'll see behind the scenes, you'll see vlog type content, story time content. These types of content is how you can tell stories in your videos that's going to really connect with your audience, right? And so I'm going to share with you 4 types of content you should be creating anyways. That's going to help you with all of this here. And then the T stands for testable. Oh, you got to test, pivot, test, pivot. Come on, test, pivot, test, pivot. Yeah, it's our favorite song, right? And so what do I mean by that? I mean, when you're putting out your content, you got to test it again, and then pivot. So sometimes we believe the myth that once I put my content out, I'm going to go viral. You may, or you may not go viral for many years. In the meantime, you're just going to be testing your content to see what's landing with your audience, right? And so I always tell my followers that the lack of response on your videos is not, it's not the people rejecting you. It's just feedback. So if you're putting out content that people aren't responding to, then that tells you, oh, they're not interested in this content. Let me test something else. That's all we got to do. Sometimes we can get in our head and be like, oh, it's me. They don't like me. That's how I be feeling sometimes. And I got to remind myself, it's not me. I just got to test, right? And then the Y stands for yearnable. Yearnable means that they are yearning for your content. They're coming back for it every single day. This is where people are binging your content. And so the reason why I love teaching binge-worthy content is because whatever you binge, you buy. That's just a fact. And I want to actually do a poll, right? I want you to type a yes in the chat if you have a Netflix account. If you have a Netflix account, just drop a yes in the chat. And I'm raising my hand because I do have a Netflix account by way of my brother. Oh, Audrey said no. That's interesting. Okay, so Lisa said yes. Yep, I see some more yeses. Okay, awesome. Okay, drop a yes in the chat. Beth said, no, I ain't messing with Netflix. I know. Is it because they made that change and they were like, everybody got to get their own account? Because I thought that was shady too. Okay, next. Drop a yes in the chat if you have a Hulu account. I'm raising my hand because I have a Hulu account as well. But drop a yes in the chat if you have a Hulu account. Audrey was like, no. Heidi said no. Bridget said yes. Awesome. Anyone else? Okay, so we have a couple of those. Used to have one, okay. Really? Wait, did I see that film? No, I didn't see that film. Interesting. Well, now I gotta check. No, I don't want to check out that film, but I didn't know that they did that. Okay. One more question. If you have an Apple Music account, a YouTube account, or even Amazon, drop a yes in the chat. So Apple Music, YouTube Red, I should say, or Amazon Prime. You have any of those, drop a yes in the chat. There we go. Yep. Right. YouTube and Amazon. Yes. We see some yeses coming in. Right. Amazon Prime got me. Yeah. I always have to throw Amazon Prime in there because I don't know anyone who don't got an Amazon Prime account. Right. And so here's the thing. You are binging these platforms and paying for them every month. Whether you're binging buying these products, although you do have access to the shows on Amazon Prime, but you're binging these shows, right? Or binging these content, or somebody's binging the content, but you're paying for it every single month. This is actually a good thing, right? Because now it shows us that this is how our society is built right now. People are accustomed to binging and buying. So my goal is to show you how to create content that gets your audience to binge so that their next step is for them to buy from you, right? Now, here's the thing. We're not people who are selling sleazy stuff or selling things that don't serve or selling things that's not good. We are actually selling people on what they want, which is they want their children to thrive in school. They want their children to have higher test scores so that they will have a good chance at going to college, right? They want their children to be successful. And that's ultimately what you are selling. So when people are binging your content and they see that you're selling them on the life that they want, their next step is for them to buy from you, right? And so that's yearnable content. When you're creating this and you have the salty content formula in place, then it's going to create a space where you're now attracting your people to your page and you're being a blessing to them. That's the goal. It's not just about getting the sales, it's also about being a blessing on your timeline, right? Okay, so step 3, we're gonna go into 4 types of content that sells, right? So I call this the 4E strategy. And this is always good to start with when you're like, man, I don't know what content to create. Does anyone ever feel that way where you're like, I don't know what content to create. I don't know what to say in my videos. I just don't know what to do, right? You feel that way, right? So I'm just gonna give you a 4E strategy and you can always follow this strategy. You can just always ask yourself, which type of content am I posting today? Is it gonna be this one, or this one, right? So we're gonna walk through that right now. So the first type of content to create is educational content. But I want to caution you, right? Because I'm pretty sure for some of you, this is not your first time hearing this. If you listen to any social media guru, they will all be like, create educational content. So then everybody runs and starts creating educational content, and then their content flops and they don't know why. The type of educational content that you want to create is the thing that people will pay you for. So what is it that your people will pay you for? That's the content that you want to create. Does anybody want to take a stab at this? You can feel free to unmute or you can go ahead and type in a chat. What will people pay you for? Now we got some of you thinking, some of you are like, Go ahead. I think I saw Heidi unmute.
Results.
What kind of results?
Well, in this case, improvement for their child. And sometimes that's it could be grades, but also just more confidence, less anxiety, more enjoyment, eagerness to do their math homework with a tutor.
That's good. So if you know that your people will pay you for that, then that's the type of content you want to create. Your content should be all surrounded around how I can help you increase your grades or help your child increase their grades, build their confidence, and how they can have fun with math again, right? So that's the type of content that you want to create. Okay, anyone else? Now notice that we named 3 things for Heidi. At any point did I say that she should be teaching how to do science or the perfect pose at gym or how to become friends with your teacher so you can pass your classes, right? Like that was none of her stuff. Why? Because her parents won't pay her for that. She just said they're going to pay if their children are confident, enjoying math again, and their grades are increasing. So that's going to be Heidi's main focus. Now, here's the thing. All of you are tutors or you work in the education system, but not all of your content will be the same. And that's the part that's important. Because somebody just heard me say that with Heidi and somebody was like, oh, I should just create content like that too. But your ideal clients may not pay you for that. And so you really want to hone in on what will they pay me for? So anybody else want to take a stab? Let's take one more person.
Well, parents will pay me to see their kids finally being able to read, their little ones, their kindergarten, first, second, third graders, being able to read, being able to ask for books. I even had a student that he's entering fourth grade, and mom said, "Oh, thank you so much. Now he's asking for the subtitles in the movies, and he reads them."
I love that. That's a great testimony. And so for
Yeah.
Nisa, that's what her content will be focused on. How to read, right? And so that means she's going to be giving them different types of strategies to read from kindergarten to whatever grade level she goes up to. Nitsa, have you ever seen content on YouTube by Miss Rachel? Do you know who that is?
Mhm.
Right? I would probably not follow her animation stuff because she has a whole team, but I would use some of her strategies, right? Because even though she's talking to babies, you see that she has like the one word on the screen and she's showing them how to pronounce it. I would do something similar to that, but for your grade level, because you said kindergarten.
Mhm.
Are you a kindergarten teacher or used to be a kindergarten teacher?
No, I'm actually a math teacher. I teach Algebra 1, but I dabbled into reading since last year, and I love it.
Oh, love it. Okay, good. I would turn my Instagram into a kindergarten classroom. And I mean like the whole look and feel. You know how they have the letters everywhere, how they have the colors everywhere. I would just turn my Instagram into that. And each day I would just release different reading prompts, new words that you should be teaching your children at that age, and then go ahead and teach. That will be the educational content to create for you because that's what they're coming from. That's what they're going to pay you for. And so,
Okay.
so can everyone see like the difference between Nitsa and Heidi? They both are tutors, but both are creating two different types of content. So sometimes when we're following other like tutor pages, we're like, oh, I should probably create content like that. But really, you got to create the content that people will pay you for. Awesome. Okay, who's feeling blessed by this? Who's like, okay, I got it. That makes sense. I got some work to think about. I got some things to think about, some work to do, right? Yeah, see, Beth is like, Bridget, excuse me, I called you Beth. Bridget is like, yeah, I gotta think about this, right? But when you show up like this on social media, you're now clear, right? And so here's the thing, clarity leads to confidence, confidence leads to content, and content leads to cash. That's it. Clarity leads to confidence, confidence leads to content, content leads to cash. When you are clear on what you are posting, you become confident, but you also create that confidence in your ideal customers. When you create the content, they are now clear on how you can serve them. So now they want to pay you. And that's where the cash comes in. Okay, so the next thing is entertainment, right? So
Sarah,
this
can I ask a question before you go on?
yeah,
Is that okay? Can I interrupt and ask a question about this?
yeah, it's fine.
I've been reading in some marketing books lately that say, and I'm wondering if what you're saying is this, is it the same thing? They'll say you're not selling like a package of tutoring sessions. You're not selling a package of, say, coaching sessions. You're selling a result, like a change person. Is that kind of what this is? You feel like you're selling the results the person gets?
Yeah. Everything that you're doing is selling the results. Another word that we tend to use in the coaching industry is that you are selling the destination. So like if you ever think about going on vacation and you're getting ready to book a trip on a plane, they will never share with you, oh, you'll be on this plane. It's going to be a rocky journey, but you know, we got you though. We may give you some pillows. They're not going to do that. They're going to remind you of where you're going, whether it's to a beach or it's going to be to a family's home where you get to sit and relax and clear your mind. That's what they're going to sell you on, right? So it's always the destination or like you said, the results, because that's what people want. They don't want the journey. If you tell them what they have to go through just to get the result, they're going to go in the other direction, which kind of sounds silly because they really are still going to have to go through the process anyway. So is that clear?
Yes. Yeah. And so you don't emphasize like, here's what you get for this price. You get 7 sessions or you get 60 minutes of tutoring. You emphasize the results.
Yep.
Okay. Eventually you have to tell them the price and that's kind of what they're buying, but you never emphasize that in your marketing. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. So eventually, I don't know what your sales process is like. I don't know if you get on the phone with them, but like at the end is where you can, at the end of your sales call is where you can go into your features. But even when you're honing in on your features, you still want to focus on the results that they're going to get. because your
Oh.
features don't matter to them unless it leads to a result, right? So if you're like, it's 7 weeks of tutoring sessions, you really want to say something like, it's 7 weeks of tutoring sessions so that your child will be able to whatever that
Oh.
result. So that's how
Okay.
you're, even in your videos, you want to do that. You never just want to be like, get on a call with me. It's going to be 7 sessions of tutoring for this much money. Like, you never want to do that because they're not, some people may buy, but the majority of people won't.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. Awesome. Okay, so the next E in the 4E process is entertainment. So all your videos should be entertaining. Now, does anyone in here feel like, man, I'm not a funny person? Does anyone feel that way? Because me too. I'm corny, but I ain't funny. That's how I be feeling, right? But here's the thing when it comes to entertainment. Entertainment doesn't always mean laughing and making someone laugh, haha. Like, that's not what it always means, right? If you think about a scary movie, people find scary movies very entertaining. And there ain't nothing funny about a scary movie, right? People find football games and basketball games very entertaining. And those games aren't funny either. People aren't just sitting there laughing. So you want to look at those types of content and think, okay, how are they entertaining their audience? For some people, it's just keeping them on the edge of their seat. For some people, it's just creating a cliffhanger ending so that people will come back for more. People just want to know, like, what's going to happen next, right? So you can do different things to entertain your audience. Most times you'll see people creating content that's making people laugh, but inspiration content can also be pretty entertaining as well, right? So if you just think about to yourself, how can I entertain my audience? And just start to add some of those tips into your videos just to make them more engaging. And then encouragement. Encouragement is the third E. Sometimes your audience is ready to give up. They don't think that they can do it. Some of them have tried other tutors before, but what can you say or do in your videos that will encourage your audience? How can you be a blessing to them, right? I've come across business owners who were just completely ready to give up on their business. And then they've heard me speaking live and I'm just encouraging them and motivating them. And then they become a client right after that. So how can you encourage your audience, right? What is it can you share? And a lot of times this is where storytelling comes into play. You can share your experience and how you have overcome just so that they can be, so that your audience can relate to you. So if you have a child where they were struggling with their math or they were struggling with reading, you were able to help them. And it doesn't necessarily have to be your child. It could be some of your students that you worked with. It could be other students. It could be some of your friends' children, right? So your stories, it could come from your life. It could come from other people's lives. It could be stuff that you've seen on TV that serves as encouragement too. I remember one time I was live and I was sharing the Harriet Tubman story. It wasn't even my story. It was talking about Harriet Tubman. And people were so encouraged. They were like, oh my goodness, I got to watch that movie. I mean, that wasn't the goal of the live, but it encouraged them. Right? So how can you be in someone who is encouraging? How can you be inspirational to your audience? And then the final E is enrollment. You want to enroll your audience into your services by making your offer. So these are your sales videos. So this is what Heidi was alluding to. She was like, when we're selling, am I supposed to be selling the result or the features? Always sell the result. Or we call it the destination, or we call it the benefits, right? So like whenever you're creating your sales videos, one reason why you're creating your sales videos is because if you do all the three that I just shared with you, encourage, entertain, and educate, but you never tell your audience how they can buy from you, they're just going to go to a different tutor because all you did was warm them up to go elsewhere. And you don't want to do that, right? You want to warm them up to let them know, here's how I can help you, right? And so when you're creating your sales videos, you want to encourage them. They could join your email list. They can book a call with you. I'm not sure what your process is, but you want to think through what your sales process is so that when you're on social media, you can easily share that with your audience. And when you're speaking in your sales videos, you want to make sure that you are speaking directly to what it is that they desire. So that result that Heidi was asking about is what they desire. Now, people only buy what they want. Sometimes I see business owners show up trying to sell people what they need. Nobody care about what they need. If they did, if people bought what they need, there'd be no need for us to be in business. People buy what they want. And actually, Jesus had demonstrated this to us so well I want to see if there's any Bible scholars in here. Do you know what Jesus' very first miracle was? If anyone knows, you can feel free to unmute and speak, or you can write it in the chat. But does anyone know what Jesus' very first miracle was?
He turned the water into wine for the party.
That's what I'm talking about. And I'm so happy you added for the party, because typically I'm the one who adds that. People are usually like, he turns water into wine. And I'm like, for drunk people. It's like, y'all forget that those people were drunk. And Jesus could have showed up and gave them what they needed. He could have been like, nah, y'all need bread. Y'all need the bread of life. But he didn't do that. For drunk people, he was like, more wine, and I'm gonna give you the best wine, right? He gave them what they wanted. But then look what happened after that. People started to follow him. So when you're sharing the results, you're sharing it because that's what they want. They want their children to exceed their math skills, their math level. They want their children to read higher than the age level that they're at right now. Ultimately, they want their children to be successful. Nobody wants to raise a child who's going to be unsuccessful. No mother or father wakes up every day and says, oh, my child's going to be unsuccessful today. Let me raise them to be that way. Okay, there may be some people who are abusive who may do that. But for the majority of the people who you are reaching, they're not like that. They're seeking your help because they want their children to be successful. So those are the things that you want to say in your sales videos, so that now you are giving your audience what they want so that they can enroll in your services, right? So that's the 4E strategy: educate, encourage, entertain, and then enroll. It works every time. If you're ever trying to think about what content I should create, just go right back to the 4Es. Let me educate them, let me entertain them, let me encourage them, and then let me sell to them. That's it, right? So we have Q&A right now. If anyone have any questions about your marketing strategy, about your video strategy, or any questions about the presentation, I am happy to answer. You can feel free to unmute and ask, or you can just write it in the chat.
So, I have a question. All those 4Es go embedded in the video. Those 4 ingredients.
So the 4 ingredients these can be 4 different videos. So the first video could be encouraging, the second video could be educational. Entertainment is the only E that should be in all your videos, to be honest. But if you wanted to have a reel or a TikTok that was just entertaining, you can do that as well. And then enroll. So those are like 4 different videos.
Okay, great.
I've heard of some people, they have a sales cycle where like 1 week is one of these, the next week's this. They'll do like, well, here's the cycle I've seen, like educate, educate, sell, educate, 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 sell. Like, and that's weekly, kind of, that's if they're sending out weekly emails. It's not producing like social media content, but it's emails selling through like an email list. Is that this idea too, or is an email list different strategy than creating, content on social media?
So no, it's not different. Actually, I use the same 4E strategy even when I'm sending out my emails. And the reason why I like this strategy is because it diversifies your content. So what's happening now, if you actually just scroll through social media, you'll see that a lot of people who are putting out educational content, it's not even doing as well. Like, have any of you ever tried to post your content and you're giving tips, and these were some really good tips that you're giving, but the views are low and the engagement is low? Is anyone experiencing that? Right? Yeah, I'm experiencing it too. That's because people are inundated with information. They are tired of the tips. They are tired of the education. And so what's really serving business owners right now is to shift into lifestyle content. So you don't want to just do educate, educate, sell, because what's going to happen is you're going to get crickets, crickets, and more crickets. And so you don't want that. So you want to diversify your content, educate, encourage, entertain, and then sell.
Okay. And do you think weekly emails, I heard you say every day, like wake up every day, and are people doing this every day with this type of creation content?
So yeah, there are some people who are posting 3 or 4 times a day. I don't teach my clients to do that, mainly because my clients are all over 40 and we are not 22.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody about to be posting 3 or 4 times a day. So what I teach my clients is how to create your content where you're batching it in advance, but you're just posting once a day for 5 days. So a minimum of 5 days a week. And that will still be able to serve your audience. Now, the people who are posting 3 or 4 times a day, kudos to them. But to the rest of us who have a life, 5 days a week is perfectly fine.
Like I get some emails from companies that I enjoy and have bought from, or I like their free content like once a week. I mean, I'm 55, but I think I'd get annoyed if I got an email from them every day. Do you have to worry about that? Do you have to know your audience or?
So it's funny because there are a lot of people who say that they would hate getting emails every day, but I actually know really big name brands who send emails every day and their audience is not annoyed. And I'm one of them. And it's because they use heavy in storytelling. So the emails aren't promotional emails where it's like, buy from us, which can get annoying. But it's also personal and it's building a relationship and it's offering some tips, but then it's sharing a story and the people are engaged. One other thing when it comes to social media and just online marketing altogether, when you continue to grow, at some point, people start to look at you like you're a celebrity. So they want your content, right? So right now, if you're just starting out, you want to just start building up your content base and start to build up your following. Because I'm telling you, when your audience becomes loyal, it doesn't matter how much content you put out, they'll go looking for you.
Okay. And that's true for email campaigns too.
Yeah.
Okay.
We send emails out 3 times a week, and that's only because that's just how many emails I could write in a month. But when I hire a copywriter, that person will most likely be sending emails out every day.
Okay.
Yep. So you remember when I shared at the very beginning that you want to be top of mind? More content also helps you to be top of mind. But the goal right now isn't to exhaust yourself creating so much content that you can't even serve your clients. The goal really is start with one. Like if you're choosing to start with emails, then just go ahead and start with emails. But if you're like, I want to start with social media, then start with social media and start to build up your following, start to invite your people from your social media to your email list, right? So that now you can actually have a simple way to get them from Instagram, from TikTok onto your email list, and then start to serve them via emails.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was about to say the same thing, that you don't want to get overwhelmed and don't try to compare yourself to other people. Like, guys, this is my going into my 5th year, and I'm just starting to get connected with my videos at year 4, really close to 5. So like when you see some of the videos, you're like, oh man, that's really good. Oh, that's really awesome. Oh, why can't I do this? And why can't I do that? This is a whole process. Like my first video was literally like, hi, I'm starting a tutoring business. If you want to do it, okay, great. and that was it, the end. And it was like really quick. But then you like just how Shamar said, we're getting that whole test pivot. So it's like, just start. Just start with one. See how it goes. If you don't get a whole lot of likes, it's not about the likes, because sometimes when you really look at it, it's also the views. Because I know a lot of people that are like, I've been watching your stuff for like a couple years now. I'm like, oh, I don't remember seeing you on my like list. Okay, that's interesting, stalker, but that's okay. We all do that. But people are watching. And just so you can be on top of mind, then now people don't know when they really need you. Because we all know how parents are when they're just like, okay, let me just, my child was struggling all year and now I'm just starting to get a tutor. And we as teachers and educators, like, well, why'd you wait? Like you're saying you see my stuff, like, why did you wait? No one can explain that. But as long as you're constantly putting yourself out there, but not to the point where it's complete burnout, because this is what's going to happen. You're going to start, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this every day for 5 days. And then you do it every day for 5 days. And that Saturday, you're going to be like, oh, dear, sweet baby Jesus, I am so tired. And then the following week, here comes Monday, and you're dreading Monday. This is not supposed to be something that you dread, because your business is a part of you. It's something that you're gonna be like, you know what? Oh, I forgot. I can do my batch and then, release my video. Like just literally do one day, do your videos and then cut them into small chunks. That's what she's saying. So I see like the ones that could see their faces as we're talking, you can see like, oh gosh, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. That's another thing I gotta learn. That's another thing I gotta do. So you know me, calm. Start with one. And eventually it's gonna be like, oh, this is not that bad. And you'll be surprised by you just sitting down, writing out what you want, what you think they are. That very first question, what are people willing to pay for? School's about to, before I hate to say it, school's right around the corner. July is next week. School's about to happen in early August for some areas. Okay, in a month. Talk to the parents like, remember how it was last year, last school year? You were ready to rip your hair out and you waited a whole year to get help? Don't do that again. Like, just talk to them plainly. That's what they want. They want your real side. Okay, so I'm going to step back now.
That's so good. No, you're absolutely right. Because even with my clients, some of them feel overwhelmed because they're getting everything. They're like, oh my goodness, I got to implement all of this now. Nope, little by little. You can't create videos until you know what people want to pay you for. And then you can't shoot the video until you know what your memorable message is, right? And so I want to answer Beth's question. Beth says, what software do you use to video and edit? So for me, I use CapCut. I absolutely love CapCut. You can do everything in CapCut. You can shoot your videos. They have a teleprompter so you can read your scripts right off of there. You can write your scripts in there because they have AI. You can edit the videos, color it, and whatever you want to do, you can do all of it in CapCut, add captions to it, and then just export it. But if you need something like super simple, because you're like, I'm not trying to edit, I would just go right into the TikTok or Instagram, shoot and edit right in TikTok and Instagram, because then you can just start and stop when you're recording, start and stop, start and stop. And I usually start my business owners off in TikTok, because then you don't have to worry about editing if you just shoot your lines and hit pause and then shoot your lines again and then hit pause, right? And so I do want to give you all a special gift, right? So if you just use your phone, you can actually scan this QR code. And I want to offer you all the Optimize to Monetize Instagram. So this one's just for Instagram if you're using Instagram. And the goal of this masterclass is to help you to create a profile on Instagram and set it up for conversions, right? And so what's going to happen is your page will look like a tutoring page, a tutoring business page. That's what it'll look like. It can be your personal profile or it could be your business, but I'm giving you strategies right in here. It's a master class, so you get to keep it forever. And you can implement it as you are ready to go, one at a time. But it walks you through the keywords that you can use for your page, where you want to place your keywords. It walks you through how to set your page up in a way that people are seeing you more. And so that when they come to your page, they actually want to buy in just the first 3 videos. So it's really setting you up in a way that when people see your page, they're like, oh my goodness, that's who I've been looking for. How can I work with them? Right. And so this is a special gift for you. Typically, this masterclass is $115. But for all of you, it is complimentary if you use the code YouCanTutor. So right here, use the code YouCanTutor, and you will be able to get this masterclass at no charge to you. You can go at your own pace with it. So you can learn at your pace, earn at your pace. And the code is only available until July 5th. So make sure that you download it as soon as today, because by next Friday, the code will no longer be available, and then the class will go up to $115. But again, this class really is a way to help you to increase your visibility so that now you're generating leads from Instagram. And so you can just implement it one step at a time. It has a lot of what we discussed today, so you can just implement it one at a time. So that's all for you. And that's what I have for you all today.
Thank you.
See, I didn't even know you were doing that. About to make me cry over here. I'm just really emotional lately. Thank you so much for sharing everything, because I know, especially with us being former educated, well, I shouldn't say former, from the classroom to now doing our own businesses and jumping into it, it is such a hard step for us how to market ourselves because we were never taught how to do that. And I think that was one of the premises that I really wanted to do for this whole membership, or I really need to just call it a community, because we just want to have some collaboration, some people to speak to us, because when we do these programs and everyone has done programs and everything, they tell you like, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this, but they never really had anyone to kind of like break it down or to really show the business side of it. Like, okay, you need a Facebook. Okay, well, how do I put it together? What should I put in there? And by you offering this service is just amazing. Thank you so much for, taking the time to spend with us. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm grateful that I got to be here and I just got to serve all of you. Like, that's our goal in social media whenever we are working with our clients, is to remind you to go out there and serve with excellence and to be a blessing. I'm pretty sure a lot of you in here started your business because you want to make an impact, and so do I. And so I can make an impact when you are showing up on social media and you are making an impact as well. So I'm very happy to serve.
And then
So
Heidi,
I
did
have
you
a
have a
question.
question? Someone did. Okay, go ahead.
I have a question. So I scanned and I'm doing this app and the code worked to give a balance of 0, but it still wants me to put in my card number.
Yeah, it's not going to charge it. It's probably still going to take it because you have to put the code in, but it's not going to charge it.
Okay.
That was a great question.
I'm looking at faces. Heidi, did you have another question?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you because the information is so valuable, and also the reminder at the end that we don't have to do it all, so we can just start with one thing at a time. And so I never thought about videos in the way that you just taught us, especially the 4 E's. Never thought about that. So that has been super, super good. So thank you.
You are welcome. See, that's our goal, just to really help you see video content in a way that serves you.
Yes. All right. And so for a little bit of closing, or for you guys to think about, if we ever need to do a brainstorming session, we can definitely do a brainstorming session with just a You Can Tutor family. And then we have Bridget, who is going to be a part of our You Can Tutor family. So we'll probably introduce ourselves and I'll have all the events. But if you want us to do a breakdown of like CapCut, I'm more than willing to do that. And we can have a session for just us. And if it so happens to be something good, then might open it up to the public if they want me to do a breakdown of CapCut. So you're not going to be by yourself. Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
spell that?
CAPCUT.
Okay.
I have another question. Because I entered a little late. How can we find Shamara?
Oh, I never even said that, did I?
I know, I was just assuming. Because
Right,
I
me
know
too.
you're on Instagram. Go ahead and do.
I'm gonna write it inside the chat, Instagram. And then this one's TikTok. Okay, so I just dropped it in the chat. That's how you can find me, at Book of Star underscore on Instagram, and then at Book of Star on TikTok. And then if you're on YouTube, it's at Book of Star. Thank you for asking that.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop sharing now.
Okay. All right, perfect.
Wait.
All right. Well, thanks again, because I don't want to hold anyone up. But if any questions that pop up, you know how to get in touch with her. But if you're interested in us doing like for our how-to session, if you want to do like CapCut, or if you want to treat it as a brainstorming for what we're going to actually do videos on, just go ahead and leave me a message inside the group, and then we can take it from there. All right.
Yeah, I would love to do a walkthrough on CapCut. I
Mhm.
tried doing a video. It was like Loom, but it was a different one. And I spent 4 hours trying to video. My child's laughing at me, trying to video a 15-minute video. And she was sitting in the next room and she'd hear me. Take 3. Yeah, try again. Take 27. I got up to take 84 and said, okay, I give.
There are
That's me too.
small bits of tactics, which I can definitely show because it took a while, because we're all trying to make it look like it's super, super perfect, a one take, and majority of the time it's not a one take. So there's some tactics, and then we can also address those as well.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, not a problem. Trust me, I have threatened this computer multiple times that I'm about to throw it out the window. I have done it. Yeah. All right, ladies. Well, have a wonderful day. And again, go ahead and reach out. If you have any questions, do not hesitate. Do not worry about like, oh, she's super busy. Just call, text, smoke signal, something. Okay. All right. Take care now.
Bye.
Thank you.